current news, and the good news. This is your new life station. Kellyanne Monahan keeps an eye on computer technology for your new life station. Nashville's WFMD reports that hackers are now navigating around the two-factor authentication method. With this port-out scan, hackers can steal your phone number from your service provider. From there, instead of you receiving a text message, the text message for two-step verification goes to the hacker instead. Bruce McCulley with Galactic Advisors told WSMD that the best way to protect your information is by using a complex password. McCulley also advised setting up a PIN number with your cell provider. To take it a step further, you can turn on alerts with your service provider. So when something changes with your phone plan, you will get an email notification. McCulley cautioned, people think that because they have two-factor authentication in place, that they're safe, and they can just not worry about having a good password or changing that password often. I'm Kellyanne Monahan.
Now it's time for True Stories from the Bible in Contemporary English. Today's story begins with Jesus and his disciples going out to the Mount of Olives. Jesus said to his disciples, "During this very night, all of you will reject me." Then Jesus went with his disciples to a place called Gethsemane. When they got there, he told them, "Sit here while I go over there and pray." Jesus took along Peter and the two brothers, James and John. He was very sad and troubled, and he said to them, "I am so sad that I feel as if I'm dying. Stay here and keep awake with me." Jesus walked on a little way. Then he knelt with his face to the ground and prayed, "My Father, if it is possible, don't make me suffer by making me drink from this cup. But do what you want and not what I want." He came back and found his disciples sleeping. So he said to Peter, "Can't any of you stay awake with me for just 1 hour? Stay awake and pray that you won't be tested. You want to do what is right, but you are weak." Again, Jesus went to pray and said, "My Father, if there is no other way, and I must suffer, I will do what you want." Jesus came back and found them sleeping again. They simply could not keep their eyes open. He left them and prayed the same prayer once more. Finally, Jesus returned to his disciples and said, "Are you still sleeping and resting? The time has come for the Son of Man to be handed over to sinners. Get up, let's go. The one who will betray me is already here." This story is found in the Bible book of Matthew, chapter 26. Next on True Stories from the Bible in Contemporary English, we will hear about the arrest of Jesus. Join us again for True Stories from the Bible in Contemporary English.
Your favorite songs from today's best music. This is your new life station.
Let's get into the music. Here's Billie Eilish.
WRBS Radio in Baltimore joins us next on the new life station. Joe is here to share with us another of his life stories. See if you can guess the subject of today's profile. Here now is Joe Norris.
Today's featured person of note was born near the American city of Bolshin. He was the son of a pastor who was well known for his interest in geography. At Yale College, our featured person was an indifferent student, but his interest was aroused by lectures of the then newly developing subject of electricity. He was also a rather accomplished artist and delighted in painting miniature portraits. After college, to the discomfort of his parents, he directed his enthusiasm especially to painting, which he studied in England.
After settling in New York City in 1825, he became one of the most respected painters of his time.
Famous people who accomplish great things are often inducted into a Hall of Fame. Baseball has its Hall of Fame. So does rock and roll music. And Hollywood has its Walk of Fame for movie stars. Chapter 11 of the Bible book of Hebrews lists people of faith who've accomplished great things for God. This is the Believer's Hall of Faith. Here's Bill Young.
Deborah is today's honoree for induction into the Believer's Hall of Faith. In the biblical history of Israel, several personalities are well known for heroic and faithful deeds. One woman, Deborah, surfaced into prominence during a critical time of oppression for the nation of Israel. In the Old Testament division of the Bible, the book of Judges describes Deborah as a woman of unusual leadership skills. She served 3 offices: prophet, judge, and co-commander of the military. The Israeli people were in dire need of someone to stop the cruel treatment from heathen enemies, which they had endured for 20 years. The lyrics of a poem put to music tell of Deborah's inspiring call to duty. Quote, "There were no warriors in Israel until I, Deborah, arose. Until I arose to be a mother to Israel." End quote. Judges chapter 5, verse 7. Her womanly instincts defended Israel as fiercely as any animal mother would drive off predators endangering her whelps. People came to Deborah from all around the region seeking her judicial counsel. But in a time of national security, the people also needed Deborah to encourage reluctant military forces. The war was engaged, and Deborah prophesied that the commander of the enemy armies would be defeated by a woman. But it is questionable whether she anticipated that the retreating fugitive enemy leader would die in his sleep by the hand of another woman. The triumphant war song that Deborah and her commanding general composed not only praised God for granting victory to the outnumbered Israeli armies, but also the song told about a flash-flooded river that literally swept away enemy troops and 900 mighty war chariots. The victory was complete, and the people of Israel enjoyed peace for 40 years. Deborah became a national heroine. She instilled courage in military leaders and once again awakened the people from their idolatrous lifestyles and spiritual lethargy against God. As several judges before and after her time, she held the nation together through her God-given gifts of wisdom and insight. However, the attention span for godly respect and faithfulness is often short-lived. Again, a national crisis compelled people to confess their wickedness, and they listened to Deborah. The divinely inspired scriptures in the Bible and the compassionate nature of God for mankind